Welcome to UND Sports Extra. I'm your host, Dan Hammer. On tonight's show, head football coach Bubba Schweigert will review his recruiting class of 2015. The head coach will join us in just seconds. Also later in the show, we'll recap North Dakota's women's hockey series with Minnesota, and we'll be joined by men's basketball coach Brian Jones and women's basketball coach Travis Brewster. The University of North Dakota unveiled its 2015 recruiting class this past week. 27 young athletes are bound for the University of North Dakota. The head coach talks about gathering pools of athletes to meet his team's needs, and that was the mission in this year's recruiting class. As we take a look at the recruiting class by state, you can see the heavy emphasis on local. 6 North Dakota players joining the UND program, 9 Minnesota athletes. North Dakota reestablishing Canada with 3 athletes from Manitoba, 3 others from Colorado, 2 from Michigan, and as you see, Alberta, California, Kansas, and Missouri rounding out geographically the recruiting class. By position, no surprise that North Dakota would concentrate on several areas of need, including off defensive backs, wide receivers, offensive linemen, and of course in North Dakota's 3-4 scheme, you always see a bunch of linebackers recruited each and every season. The head coach is with us. Bubba, good to be back with you again. As I said, you talk about recruiting pools of athletes. Did you get that accomplished this year?
Well, we did. We had some needs we needed to address on both sides of the ball, and felt we did that throughout the recruiting process. Was really pleased with our staff, the evaluating that they did and the hard work they did to establish, relationships with young men and their families. And offensively, we felt receivers and offensive line were the highest need, and you'll see big numbers in those areas. And then defensively, defensive back, and we're always going to need linebackers. Yeah. So you'll see those areas were addressed also.
And the footprint in North Dakota, I know that's for you and your staff very critical.
It is important. We're the flagship university of our state, and we feel like anybody that has an opportunity that we feel can play Division I football should be given that opportunity at our university, and we were able to attract some fine players that have a bright future here at the University of North Dakota.
All right, Bubba, when we come back, we'll take a further look at your recruiting class, also some of the athletes that have joined your program or will be joining your program. That's next.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
We're visiting with football coach Bubba Schweigert on his 2015 recruiting class. Bubba, let's talk about a few of these guys individually. A guy that's creating a lot of buzz is a North Dakota product, Elijah Grady from Newtown, big offensive lineman. Tell us about Elijah.
Yeah, we're happy to get Elijah committed here at North Dakota, and we had committed him for a long time. He attended our camp in the summertime, and we just saw a lot of potential in him, good footwork, and really a kid that pays attention to detail when you coach him, and that may be coming from his boxing background. Yeah. And he plays high school basketball, which we think is always good for big guys. We really like the 3 and 4 sport athletes, and just a super young man, and we think his future is really bright here at North Dakota, and really looking forward to getting him here and working with him day after day and see how far this takes him.
Another North Dakota product at the quarterback position, Brad Heidelbaugh from Rugby. Big kid, 6'5".
Yeah, big athletic body, and got a chance to go out in our open week and watch Brad perform on the field, and he's just different out on the football field. Here's a 6'5" guy that long jumps 22.70 in the state track meet, and he's also a top basketball player in our state. And we just feel like finding those athletic quarterbacks really can help your football team. There's no defense that can defend quarterback scramble and athleticism of a quarterback, and we see in the Big Sky, those are the guys that are toughest to defend. We think Brad will give us that at the quarterback position.
Bubba, when you look at your defensive backs this year, you got longer. A lot of your defensive backs that you recruited are 6'2", 6'3", and 6'4".
Yeah, one of our needs that we felt we needed to address was becoming bigger and longer in the secondary, and we were a very good first down, second down team, and one area where we had a concern was third down, and we call them jump balls. Mm-hmm. Teams are going to drop back, throw it up to their best guy, and it's one-on-one. No matter if you're playing zone or man, at some point it's one-on-one when the ball's in the air, and we just felt we needed to address that because that's what a lot of teams were doing to us, throwing jump balls on third down, and we got to get better at coming down with those, whether you break them up or get interceptions. And we felt we did a pretty good job of finding those guys. Now we can't ignore the fact those guys still have to be able to move their feet. So we didn't just take guys with length if they couldn't move their feet.
You're back in Canada, specifically Manitoba, with Gusto, the Winnipeg area. Brady Oliveira, running back, who you think has got real strong potential, correct?
Once again, a guy that came down, we were able to see him on our campus. And Winnipeg makes sense for us. It's 2 hours away. We've had a lot of good players from Winnipeg and in Canada in particular through the years. And we want to continue that tradition here. And Brady did a good job in our camp. He's a stocky, strong type runner, 5'10", 220 pounds. And for what we want to do offensively, we really think he's a good fit. He's got pretty good speed, and he's going to be able to move the chains for us. But we really like that he's a physical type running back.
And also, since we've been last with you, you have some guys already on campus that enrolled in the first part of the new semester. A couple of receivers, including Clive Georges. So you've added some help from the FBS level and junior college level there as well.
Yes, we did. At receiver, Clive Georges comes in, transfer from Arizona, had track offers and out of high school. He's from Miami, Florida, and then he also got the offer from Arizona in football, and that's his passion. That's what he wants to play in college, and he'll add some real speed to our receiving core. Alex Reed is a junior college receiver that we added. We think he brings a real toughness to that group, and we're also to get a couple safeties. A couple guys that we just felt we needed to become more athletic at that position and needed some help in the upper class category, and to give these younger guys a little bit more time to develop.
When does spring football begin?
We start on Friday, March 27th is our first workout. We'll have 15, and we concluded April 25th, and it's going to be a live scrimmage setup at Memorial Stadium due to the Champions Club ball in the Alaris Center. Right. So we're looking forward to being outside and bringing back some of that old outside football to our program.
All right, Bubba, we'll check in with you as we get closer to spring football. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Bubba. Coming up next, we'll visit with women's basketball coach Travis Brewster.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
The UND women's basketball team swept Southern Utah and Northern Arizona last week. Head coach Travis Brewster is back with us. Coach, good to be back with you again. You're bound for the Montana trip this weekend, and of course, Thursday night, Montana and North Dakota.
Showdown.
Heck of a showdown coming up. You're 8-3. Montana's 9-2 in the conference. This is a very large game.
Well, I think when you look at that game for us, it's the next big game on the schedule. They're all big at this time of the year. It's February. You look at playing in their arena. It's packed. They got great fans. It's going to be an exciting environment, but we have to take care of business.
Next game on the schedule, and you're not trying to overplay this game the way it sounds.
No, not at all. Really looking to just really focus on us and play that game. We played them here. It was a tight game. Could have went either way. I thought we came out on top. We have to figure out a way to do it again. They're playing particularly well right now.
You're the best field goal shooting team in the league. They're the best field goal defensive team in the league and the best scoring defense in the league. What gives Thursday in Missoula?
Well, my choice, they give. But, it's going to come down to execution. It really is. And, they defend very, very well. And we have to be able to break them down. We have to stay patient, and I really think for us, we have to stay aggressive at the same time. That's a tricky combination.
All right. Good couple days for your team at home last weekend. Let's review your games. We go back to Thursday night against Southern Utah, and your defense coach really set the tone here early in the basketball game.
Well, I thought it kind of kept us in the ball game for a while. We hit a little stagnant part, but we were just really kind of rotating around like we work on in practice. I thought at times here defensively we got ourselves going.
And points off turnovers were key early. You talk about Maya Lloyd. She won the Big Sky Conference Player of the Week honors again. Her will and desire, what a great example of that right here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a great hustle play by her, try to get that extra rebound and, extra possession for us, and then turn around and hustle down the floor and get a layup. I think that just epitomizes how she plays the game. 16
points and 12 rebounds this game, another double-double. She has 5 more double-doubles than the closest person in the Big Sky.
Well, I think for Maya, she isn't really sitting there charting that type of stat. She's more into, hey, this is what I need to do to give us some success, and if it happens to be that way, that's the way it is. But great steal there by Michaela Dyer, and Great hustle play by her.
8 steals in the first half, fueling a double-digit lead. Then late in the first half, Southern Utah closes the gap here thanks to Desiree Jackson hitting a couple baskets.
Well, again, she's a very good basketball player, does well attacking the hoop. But I thought that's where our defense, kind of started to let down. They made us pay for it.
Second half here, you were fairly animated at times in this basketball game.
Well, I would say it was really animated. It's just
no.
I was just trying to communicate.
Into the game.
Just trying to communicate, keep everybody excited about what's going on. It's one of those things. I want my players to be passionate, and I don't want to be shy about it.
Right. Megan Lau, heck of a second half for you here.
Yeah, rough half for Megan, and then she comes out and knocks down some buckets. Got herself rolling. She's streaky like that.
Yeah, all 10 of her points came in the second half, and you pushed the lead to 11 here. But then again, because of some turnovers on your part late in the game, Southern Utah closed the gap within 2.
Yeah, we did some things that are uncharacteristic we were trying to do, and we needed to keep it simple, and we were trying to make some home run plays, I call them, and you just can't do that. You build a lead a certain way, you got to keep playing that way.
But a sign of a championship team, you respond, you then go on an 8-0 run to really push the separation to a point where you never lost it.
Well, I think, again, back-to-back threes by Megan was big, obviously, right there, and the other part about it is we just started spacing the floor out a little bit and attacking again, and that gave us a little more continuity.
Maya Lloyd was 16 points and 12 rebounds. You had 4 players in double figures for the 67-52 win. Saturday afternoon, Northern Arizona inside the Betty. Game plan here sure looked like it was take advantage of your size advantage you had over Northern Arizona.
Well, we wanted to pound it inside. Emily and Maya, they do a great job in there, but Emily's got to get to occupying that space, and just trying to dominate on the boards is going to be a big one. And Emily's she's been doing a little bit better job of that this year.
9 of 11 from the field for Emily Evers, and it was really a tone for your whole team Saturday as far as how you shot the basketball.
Well, if you get people doubling down, that gives everybody else a chance to line up some shots, and we're fairly good passers with our posts, so that's a great feed right there, But at the same time, we're working the tempo.
50 points in the paint, and again, we talked about Maya Lloyd winning the Big Sky Conference Player of the Week honors for the 4th time this season.
Well, she's starting to stroke her outside shot a little bit, gain some more confidence out there, but she's trying to expand her game a little, which is nice, but at the same time, she understands, what, I got to try to dominate down low.
23 points from Maya Lloyd on this afternoon, and then you go inside for the reverse layup. Michaela Dyer also had a good shooting day. Heck, between Emily Evers and Maya Lloyd and Michaela Dyer, they were combined 26 to 34 from the floor.
Oh, that's a great percentage. We'll take it. That also shows the team sharing the ball, getting the ball to the people in the right spots. You don't see Michaela really forcing a whole lot of things. She's just taking what the defense gives her, and she attacks the rim.
Mm-hmm. Well, you really put this game away late first half and then the beginning of the second half, too.
Well, again, when the team shares the basketball, you give yourself great opportunities.
So you go up by 13 at the break, and then in the second half, you're going to get another run here to the tune of 21-6, and pretty much in cruise control at this point, aren't you?
I wouldn't say cruise, but we're trying to be pretty methodical about what we're doing. We're really trying to get ourselves going and really keep the wheel turning the right way. And I think everybody's just doing a great job of just working together.
Big time shooting day for your team there, 59% from the field.
It's one of those ones they show us great spurts of that in practice, and it's nice to see it carry over in the game.
78-62, the final. A couple of must-dos if you're to win at Montana Thursday night would be what, Coach?
Got to defend the three, defend penetration, and rebound the snot out of the basketball.
There you go, which you typically do. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun Thursday night in Missoula. Good luck on your swing to Montana and Montana State. We'll recap it next week on the show. We're back next here on UND Sports Extra.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
Welcome back. The North Dakota men split a pair of road games last week, winning at Southern Utah, falling to Northern Arizona. Head coach Brian Jones is back with us. Coach, good to be back with you again. Kind of a tale of two games, so to speak, on your road trip.
Well, it was. I thought we played pretty well at Southern Utah, except for the first 4 minutes of the second half. And then Saturday, we really came out after about the first 5 minutes really flat. I thought flat defensively, started rushing offensively, a lot of poor shot selections, which led to NAU's easy baskets. And they're really talented. After seeing them in person, playing against them, a lot of respect for what they're doing right now at Flagstaff.
Part of what you did against Southern Utah that helped you get that win and what you had been doing lately, you kind of got away from at Flagstaff, and that is really sharing the ball and distributing the ball.
No question.
Right?
We talked to our guys at halftime. We had, I want to say we had 9 assists or 7 assists at halftime at NAU, and we finished with 10. So we're just what we had done to probably the 3 prior games up to that was double-digit assists, minimal turnovers. But we didn't do that, and honestly, in the second half to start at Southern Utah, we turned it over 7 of our first 9 possessions, but we still shared the ball, and that's always been a recipe for success for the teams here. We got a lot of balance, but in order to have balance, you got to share that ball and get everybody touches.
Let's take a look at some highlights. Go back to Cedar City last Thursday night, and Dron Nash certainly got you going early.
He did. He was very good in the first half, and as you're seeing right here, a lot of sharing the ball, but us attacking the rim. That's when we're our best, attacking the paint, rhythm shot, 10 toes to the rim, again, making the extra pass, a good shot for a great shot. Quite a finish. He's had quite a few of those the last few games, a little English off the glass.
And 11 assists on 15 made field goals in the first half. Doesn't get much better.
It doesn't. No, not much more efficient. And again, that's what when we've had our good moments offensively, that's what we're seeing.
Yeah. You talked about the second half and allowing Southern Utah back in. They went on a 19-5 run that kind of tightened this game up here down the stretch.
It did, and it had a lot to do with our lack of ball handling. I think, like I mentioned, 7 of 9 possessions with turnovers, and you're seeing now they're getting shots right to the rim, and we're not guarding very well at that point.
Eston Tyler in the paint, one of 5 players in double figures. First time this season they had 5 players in double figures, including Lenny Antwi. Great pass right there, setting up Dron Nash.
I mean, that's great vision right there, again, attacking the rim. I really thought, even though they got back into the game, we really did play well, but Southern Utah played well as well. Big hoop right there, big putback. Jerron and Carson had huge putbacks late in the game for us to preserve the win.
And each of those players were in double figures, both points and rebounding. Jerron Nash at 21-11, Carson Shanks his first career double-double at 14 and 12, and then you also got off to a good start in overtime to win at 89-85. Fast forward, Flagstaff on Saturday afternoon, and in this game, it was a match of runs early in the game. But once it got to be about 16-13, they had a big run that really separated themselves.
And that run was dictated by us quick shooting 0 or 1 passes and missing a lot of jump shots, not attacking the paint. What you saw in Southern Utah, a lot of paint touches, extra passes. That wasn't happening Saturday, and they're too good of a shooting, too high potent of offenses. You're seeing a lot of transition threes. Those come off of our quick shooting and just not being patient on the offense.
They're a dangerous team once they start getting some rhythm
they
from
are.
the perimeter.
I mean, you look at, they got, as I mentioned to Paul on the radio, most teams have 2 really good guards in their team. These guys have 3, and they're veteran guards. So they made us pay. Our key was to stop the big 3. Yeah. The big 3 all had big nights for them, and we did a poor job of stopping them.
This was a game, again, if you were to shut down those big 3 or limit them offensively, you needed to be good in the offensive end, and you probably didn't execute as well as you would have hoped in this game. Is that correct?
We did, not in the first half where they got separation. I thought in the second half it was a pretty even game. We did a good job of getting our feet to paint, getting back to who we were, but the deficit was so large every time we were knocking at the door, we probably had a big foul or they got an easy basket in transition. So, again, the second half was a little bit better, but, that was just too big of a deficit to come back from.
Well, you saw him knock down 9 of 15 threes in the first half, 88-63. The final, Quinton Hooker in double digits again. So was Dron Nash and Lenny Antwi, who put back-to-back good games for you together on the road. Home this week, Montana on Thursday night, Montana State on Saturday. Right now, you're 4-7 in the league, just a half game out of that final playoff spot. You played Montana to an 11-point game in Missoula to begin the conference season. This is a team that's playing good defense. So what's your goal this Thursday?
Well, obviously it's a huge weekend for us with them. They're playing outstanding right now. In their building, it came down to a 3-minute game. They had a 10-0 run, and it was Gregory, their best player. So we got to really defend. We got to be efficient on offense because they are the best defensive team in our league. But we got to come out with what we do with just energy and really be disciplined on the defensive end, but just share the ball on the offensive end.
We're looking forward to bringing the game to you live Thursday night here on Midco Sports Network. It'll begin at 7 o'clock. We're back with more next.
UND Sports Extra on Midco Sports Network is presented by the University of North Dakota.
The women's hockey team split a series with arch rival Minnesota last weekend on Friday night. Nearly 5,000 fans in attendance. Minnesota went on an early power play. Usually not good news for the opponent, but North Dakota does turn it into something positive. Amy Menke in on the breakaway. The shorthanded breakaway goal as she beats Amanda Levier for a 1-0 lead. Just a minute and a half later, North Dakota extends the lead. Strong play by Josephine Jakobsen, winning the puck on the near fault wall in front of the North Dakota bench, then is patient in beating Levier for the 2-0 lead. North Dakota didn't need any more because Shelby Amsley-Benzie was outstanding again. In fact, this was a career night for Amsley-Benzie. She recorded her 10th career shutout to take the all-time lead in that category at North Dakota. She stopped 25 Minnesota shots, and North Dakota picked up a 3-0 win. Saturday afternoon, the two teams completing their series, and North Dakota again takes the early lead. Just 67 seconds into the game, it's Josephine Jakobsen with a strong individual play again around Rachel Bana, around Megan Wolf, beating Levier for a 1-0 lead. It was 1-1 after one. Then Minnesota took over in the second period. Kate Schipper goes to work from the end wall, centering Hannah Brandt for her 25th goal of the year. Minnesota never looked back, and they go on to win 3-1 to salvage the series split. Coming up this weekend on Midco Sports Network, men's basketball and men's hockey. Thursday night, Montana and North Dakota in Big Sky men's basketball. Friday and Saturday night, North Dakota and Denver in NCHC hockey. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for North Dakota Hockey with Dave Haxtell.